You all have already had just too much of me already today, but God, you look fabulous. Look at you. And Montpelier is so happy to have you here. And just to let you know that for sure, we've got the mayor and the chief of police to personally welcome you. Now, and you see them right here, right? The thing that you need to know about Mayor John Hollar is one of his first acts as mayor after his election in 2012, he joined the Mayors for Freedom to Marry. He joined 225 other mayors in submitting an amicus brief to the U.S. Supreme Court, urging them to end marriage discrimination nationwide. He was also one of those leaders to challenge the discriminatory policies of the Boy Scouts. You could have moaned at that one, but you know, I will tell you, I was once a Boy Scout and they asked me to leave. He is, yeah. Okay. He led the city council's effort to make Montpelier a sanctuary city. And it's not just rhetoric for John. He appointed Monique as the liaison by mere request. So, Mayor John.
Thank you, Keith, for that very kind introduction. And welcome everyone to our great small town capital city. It's a real pleasure to have you here, and it is a real honor for me to be able to stand with you today in solidarity for the rights of the LGBTQ community in Montpelier, in Vermont, across our nation, and around the world. Our country has come a long way in the 18 years since the Vermont Supreme Court next door made its historic decision in Baker versus State to acknowledge the rights of gay and lesbian couples to form civil unions. As Justice Amistoy said so eloquently in that decision, advocates of marriage equality sought nothing more nor less than legal protection and security for their avowed commitment to intimate and lasting human relationships that are simply, when all is said and done, a recognition of our common humanity. That decision was a first but inadequate step, and it led to our Vermont legislature passing the Marriage Equality Act in 2009, legalizing same-sex marriage. I am proud to live in a state that has been a leader in recognizing our common humanity. And to be a mayor of a community where LGBTQ rights are not a thing to be discussed and debated. These are fundamental human rights. No different than our right to gather here today. But of course, and unfortunately that's not the case in many parts of our country. In too many legislatures, too many courts, too many city councils, too many communities, it is still acceptable to view LGBTQ persons as somehow not entitled to the same rights and freedoms as everyone else in our society. Gay and lesbian persons still do not have full legal protection from housing discrimination throughout our country. They still do not have full legal protection from employment discrimination. And our transgender friends and neighbors continue to suffer humiliation and indignities that cannot be tolerated in a civil society. These are not issues that we should be debating in 2017, and yet, at the national level, the remarkable progress that's been made in the last dozen years is under assault at every turn. The Trump administration has repealed guidance that protected students from discrimination and harassment in our schools based on sex. It issued an order only last month that gives broad permission to discriminate against LGBTQ persons under the guise of religious freedom. It has adopted immigration policies that endanger the safety of those who seek refuge in the U.S. out of fear of discrimination abroad. And it has openly attacked the rights and dignity of transgender persons. All of these policies are an attempt to say that we are not all equal, that some Americans are not entitled to protection from discrimination based on who they are, who they love, how they express themselves. The time for debating equal rights for all Americans has long since passed. It is long past time for us to recognize and embrace our common humanity. Let's continue to work together in our communities, neighbor to neighbor, to show the world that embracing equal rights for all makes us a stronger and a better society. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. Gay and lesbian persons still do not have full legal protection from housing discrimination throughout our country. They still do not have full legal protection from employment discrimination. And our transgender friends and neighbors continue to suffer humiliation and indignities that cannot be tolerated in a civil society. These are not issues that we should be debating in 2017.